You were in Afghanistan in 2002.
Of the cave. There's a cave.
You see something coming out of the cave.
Ever sat by a campfire at night? Picture hearing stories of huge giants who once roamed the earth. These weren't just stories, they were ancient tales from all over the world. Imagine the giant footprints carved in stone and stories of battles between giants and gods. But were these giants real, or just in our ancestors' imaginations?
The Harvard study is an absolute bombshell. An entire civilization just disappears without a trace, vanishes into thin air. It's easily the most surprising and most shocking conclusion you can imagine.
Hold on tight as we jump into the exciting mysteries of giants. We'll explore the evidence from huge skeletons found all over the world to massive ruins that puzzle experts. Did giants really exist, or is the truth even weirder than we think? Let's uncover it together. Everywhere you look, stories of giants pop up. From scary tales around campfires to ancient myths whispered for thousands of years, giants seem to be a big part of history. These giants weren't just colossal, though. They were often described as super strong and powerful. Some stories even say they were as tough as gods. Believe it or not, even way back in the olden days, people wrote about giants. The Sumerians, who lived in Mesopotamia around 4500 BC, had stories of giant kings who ruled before anyone else. These kings were said to be incredibly wise and powerful, leading some to believe they might have been gods themselves. There are even old writings from Babylonia, dating back to 1800 BC, that talk about giants who knew all about the stars and planets. This ancient fascination with giants leads us to an intriguing scientific exploration. Imagine the Earth way back when, before everything looked the way it does today. Scientists believe the air itself might have been different, kind of like a giant bubble that could have helped creatures grow much bigger. Dr. Carl Bohr, a smart scientist, even did an experiment where he recreated this ancient air, and guess what? The fish grew way bigger than usual. This makes us wonder, could this special air have allowed humans to grow super tall back then? Now, scientists are still arguing about exactly when humans first appeared on Earth. Maybe they were around way earlier than we thought, living in this special air and growing super tall. Speaking of tall, remember the story in the Bible about Moses? Well, he sent some scouts out to explore a new place, and they came back scared. They said the people there were like giants, making them feel as small as grasshoppers. This story has been told for thousands of years, making us wonder if there's any truth to it. Here's another puzzle all around the world. There are these giant buildings made from massive rocks. We call them megalithic structures, and they're so huge and heavy that it's hard to imagine how people built them without fancy tools. Maybe, just maybe, these structures were built by exceptionally skilled ancient builders using techniques that are still a mystery to us today. As we explore further into our quest for answers, we'll travel the globe, examining scientific studies and historical accounts to uncover any evidence that giants once walked the earth. Adding to this mystery, whispers of giant discoveries have persisted throughout history. Imagine yourself with a shovel in hand, digging deep into the earth and unearthing massive bones. That's what some folks claim happened way back in the 1800s. Stories abound of mummified remains, like super tall mummies that would make even the greatest basketball player look like a grasshopper. Some tales speak of mummies reaching heights of 7 houses stacked on top of each other. That's a whopping 70 feet tall, way too fantastical to be true. Others say they found mummies closer to 13 feet tall, which is still super tall, like a walking skyscraper. Of course, these discoveries are pretty old, and some researchers with a healthy dose of skepticism believe they might be a bit stretched, like tall tales, or maybe even completely made up. We'll definitely need more solid evidence before we can declare these giant mummies the real deal, but hold on tight, because that's not all. On the other hand, some people like author Stephen Quayle believe there's more to the story. He says he's found evidence of giant skeletons in tunnels all over the world, from South America to the Middle East. Now, that sounds pretty unbelievable, right? Imagine giant tunnels dug by super tall people. It's like something out of a movie. There are also stories of specific giant discoveries throughout history. Back in 1891, workers digging for a new building in Arizona supposedly found a giant stone coffin. When they opened it, They found a skeleton that was almost 9 feet tall but had turned to dust over time. Another story comes from California in 1883, where soldiers digging a pit claim they unearthed the remains of a 12-foot tall giant with double rows of teeth in both its upper and lower jaws. These sound like super scary giants, right out of a nightmare. Adding to these captivating stories of giant discoveries throughout history, there's another account that captured attention in 1988. Gregor Spory found a mummified giant finger in Egypt. Measuring 15 inches long, about 38 centimeters, the finger suggests it could have belonged to something about 16 feet tall. Some believe it's proof of an ancient race of giants, while others think it might be fake. But hold on a minute. There are some problems with these stories. First, they're all very old, and there's no way to be sure if they're true or just tall tales people made up around campfires. Second, even if the giant bones are real, they might not be what they seem. Maybe they were just bigger than average people, not giants like in the stories. Third, none of these discoveries were examined by scientists properly, so there's no real proof they're even human bones. So, what does this all mean? Well, it means we have to be careful about believing everything we hear, especially when it comes to giants. These stories are exciting, for sure, but they might not be true. We need more evidence, like real bones studied by scientists, before we can say for sure if giants ever walked the earth. Transitioning from the discussion of giant stories and evidence, if giants were real, what would happen to them? That's a great question, and there are a bunch of different ideas floating around. Maybe they just died out, like some big animals that used to roam the earth, or perhaps they became smaller over time, evolving into regular-sized humans like us. Some folks even believe they went into hiding, living in secret places where nobody can find them. It's kind of like a giant hide-and-seek game that's lasted for thousands of years. The truth is, nobody knows for sure what happened to giants if they even existed at all. But that's the fun part, right? It keeps the mystery alive. We can keep searching for clues and see if we can uncover the truth about these super tall beings. Did giants meet a similar fate as those giant dinosaurs we see in museums? Maybe. Scientists believe Earth's air used to be different, kind of like a supersized bubble that could have helped creatures grow much bigger. So if giants needed that special air to survive, and it changed over time, they might have just disappeared, just like the dinosaurs. Another wild idea is that giants might have destroyed themselves. Think about it, some stories talk about giants fighting epic battles, and maybe that fighting got way out of hand, leading to their downfall. There's also a thought that giants, with all their power, might have gotten greedy and used it for bad, leading to their civilization crumbling, just like some fallen empires we learned about in history class. Who knows, maybe there's a lesson there for us regular-sized folks too. Let's wrap up our giant adventure. We've heard spooky tales and explored scientific ideas, but the truth about giants remains a mystery. Scientists have theories, but no solid proof. Even stories of giant bones might be too good to be true. So, did giants ever walk the earth? It's still unclear, but that's what makes it exciting. What do you think about that? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time.